Hi everyone, welcome to online learnings. In this video, we'll be discussing about network representation. So I'll be making a series in which I'll be discussing about network infrastructure in detail. This video is specifically for network representations. So you will be coming across some terms like end devices, intermediary devices. So in order to understand that, or in order to understand the whole network, you need to know what these devices are. So your laptops, your computers, printers, your phones, which give you some output, right? Because at the end of the day, you are using your laptops, your computers. So all these are your end devices. So when I talk about intermediary devices, I mean there are some devices which are in between two or more end devices so that your connection does not get lost. So if I'm talking to you now here using wireless media and you are receiving some signal, you're receiving all this information wherever you are in the part of the world. There are some antennas which make sure that the signal does not get lost. In the same way, if there is a wired network, in order to make sure that the data does not get lost in between due to some other data or some other collisions within the network, we use intermediary devices. So routers, switches, multi-layer switches, all these devices adds on to the connection to the network to make sure that the it's a smooth network without any interferences, and all other networks are being accessible to you. So in short, intermediate devices are your routers, your switches, multi-layer switches, and firewall appliance. We know whatever whether it be light or data or signals, whatever it is, all they need is a medium to transfer, right? So there are three types of medium: wireless, LAN, and WAN. So all these network media I will be discussing in detail in the later slides. So now, terminology. First one is network interface card or NIC. So in order to physically understand how the connections are made or how the wires are joined, we need to know these terminologies. So NIC, network interface card, is a card which physically connects two devices, or which physically connects end devices, and you know end devices are your laptops and your phones. So NIC connects those into the network. There are many networks, right? But NIC makes sure that your end devices are connected to that network. Second one is physical port. So you must have seen in your televisions or in your laptop, there are some ports, right? There are some slots uh, where you insert your wire, and then you can make a connection to what, for example, simple as that. When you connect your phone with your laptop using a wire, there are some slots, right? So you use those slots to connect both end devices with a wire. In a similar case, physical port means that connector, that outlet on your device, on your networking device, where the media, and by media I mean a wire, which can be for a LAN or a WAN, where a media connects to the end device or another networking device. The third one is interface. So these are specialized ports, right? They're also ports, but they are specialized in because they connect to individual networks, and ports and interfaces are used interchangeably most of the times. That's why they're both the same thing, but the only difference is interfaces are used for individual networks. So here are two questions which I want you to solve by yourself. I'll be disclosing and discussing the answers in my next video. So right now you can all pause and maybe try to figure out the answers of these two questions. Briefly talking about LAN, these are local area network, like it stands for local area network. As the name suggests, it is a network for the local area, right? So it's a network infrastructure which provides access to users and end devices in a small geographical area. So when I say in a small geographical area, I mean if there is a home, like you have a connection, Wi-Fi connection, there is a modem. So it's a local area network. It's a small scale network. which can be their home, your school, like not the big ones, but the small business networks, or in a locality there is a network being created. But but when it comes to WAN, it's a different story. WAN stands for Wide Area Network. So now the area becomes wider. It's not just limited to your home or your small business. It is across your states, across countries. That's a that's a WAN, because there are you won't believe, but the wires are connected across countries for the ease of transmission of signals. There are wires laid in beneath oceans, beneath earth, or not beneath earth, but there are wires underground which make a connectedness between two countries or different states which are very far away from each other. So the network infrastructure provides access to other networks over a wide geographical area. WANs are owned and managed by a large corporation or telecommunication service providers. In detail, we'll be discussing uh, in later slides. So if you see the diagram, this home alone is a LAN, right? This branch is a LAN. This central is a LAN. But when they're all connected and everyone is transferring their information to each other, which is transferable, not the all the disclosures are being done by the home office or by the branch. Whatever is required, whatever they can put out on the internet, they are putting it out. So all this connected makes a WAN, because the area becomes wider, even though they're different. Even they're at different geographical areas. When all are connected, it becomes a WAN, wider area network. Talking about the special characteristics of LAN, as I said, it interconnects end devices in a limited area. It's administered by a single organization or individual, and it provides high speed bandwidth. When I say high speed bandwidth, I mean that, suppose there are when two persons are sitting together and they are using Bluetooth, the transmission of files is so quick because they're sitting together and there is no another network or another mobile in between them to catch up the signal. So that's why the speed is so high. But if the people are sitting over a distance, the transmission becomes less quick, because there are certain signals in between those two people which can overpower your main signal and which can decrease the speed of that signal. So in the similar way, LAN means small areas. In small areas there are not much other networks or not much other signals which can maybe lessen up the speed of the data or the transmissions. That's why the LANs possess or provides high speed bandwidth. Coming to the specific characteristics of WAN, as said, these are managed by service providers or internet service providers, as we all know, ISPs. So when two or more LANs are connected, they form a WAN, because LAN in itself is like they are covering a geographical area. But when, like for example, there are so many networks within a city only, within a state only, when all these are connected, when two states or countries network is being connected, that's known as a wider area network, because that is a network of wide area. So interconnects LAN over wide geographical areas, such as cities, states, provinces, countries, and continents. It is administered by multiple service providers, because LANs have multiple providers, right? So administration of WAN requires those service providers also. And since there is a lot of distance involved in WAN, there are cities which are apart from each other yet connected, the speed will be slower because there will be lots and lots of signals, uh, collisions of signals. That's why the WAN speed is slower as compared to WANs. As that's why the WAN speed is slower than as compared to LANs. Sorry, I said the other way around, but yeah. So what I meant is WAN speed is lower because of the area, because of large area, because of larger collisions between that area of networks. Yeah. And now finally the internet. I know these terms are like basic, but in order to understand network infrastructure fully, we need to memorize all these terms because we'll become across these terms very often. So internet is a worldwide collection of interconnected networks. So internet is a collection of all your LANs, WANs, everything. Everything with all your networks constitute of an internet. In this picture also you can see there is a homeland, there is a hospital, government, and when all these are connected they're forming an internet. So the internet is not owned by anything or any group. That's why when you say there must be some like people post their post data on online, there is no filtration of that data whatsoever. Anything or anyone can post anything or anything. That literally means because nobody owns an internet, right? There is no individual, there are no standards for publishing content on the internet. That's why internet does is not owned by any individual or group. It ensures effective communication across different infrastructure, but it definitely makes sure that the connection is there. Two end devices can communicate with each other. There is, even though the infrastructure is different, or whether it's a LAN or a WAN, it doesn't matter. It it ensures that there is a communication between two LANs or WANs or two end devices, and for that there are standards and there are some agencies. Some of the agencies or the organizations, oh sorry, it's organizations. So some of the organizations are Internet Engineering Task Force, IETF. The second one is Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, Internet Architecture Board, IAB. So these are just for your information. Intranet and extranet. So like all these things, they are almost the same with little limitations which make them different. So by intranet, I mean it refers to a private connection of LANs. For example, your colleges, your universities have private connections. Like if you log in into your organization portal, only you are the one who is accessible to that login. Not everyone and anyone who is not part of a university can see your account or your student account, right? Only you are accessible to that account. That is because it's a private connection for only organizations, members, and employees. But let's say some guest who wants to see what organization is and wants to know more about that organization. So for that they don't need intranet, right? They don't need to be part of, they don't, since they're not part of organization, they would be using extranet to access useful information regarding the organization. They won't be accessing the organization using intranet. So that's the difference. One more example I would like to give. Suppose there are some suppliers I want to work with. I have one organization. I won't be, and the suppliers need to know more about organization data. They would require organization data to develop some product. So that's why I won't be giving them all the excess of my organization resources, because that supplier is working with multiple organizations. So there is a chance of data leakage, in a way I would say. That's why I would, in order to give useful and useful resources to the supplier, I extranet would be using, not intranet. As I said, so examples are company providing access to outside suppliers and contractors, hospital providing a booking system to doctors for appointments for the patients. Now, in a hospital, what happens is there are some data which only doctors need. Patients don't need that data. But patients want is to have a booking system where they can book their doctors and have an appointment. So the doctors, whatever doctors are having access to, whether it's organizational portal, everything what, because doctors are working in an organization, so they have their own accounts in that organization system. So that they're using intranet. But when it comes to patient, because patient can change their doctors anytime. So they don't need to have access to the whole organization portal. They just are concerned with appointments. So that's why it's extranet. The third one is local office of education, providing budget and personal information to schools in the district. So all these are examples of extranet. So in a diagram, if I say intranet means only your company or your organization or employees are only able to have access to the company resources. But when you connect the suppliers or customers with that company, but they're not accessing your own back end things. They're not concerned about what else do you do. They're only concerned about their part. So that's why we use extranet. And then there is internet, which is the whole world. A combination of LANs, WANs. So all these things are in a way similar, but we are just adding layers to differentiate it from the main internet. Similarly, now these are some questions which I want you all guys to try, and I'll be discussing their answers in the next video. You can just all pause and try to figure out if can hear the answers. That would be from my side in this video. Thanks for watching online learnings, and please, if you like the video, like and subscribe. Thank you.